Government can and should help the car makers. How? I know.
Let's destroy some cars. Does this make sense? Sure, it'll stimulate the auto business.
That was the idea behind Cash for Clunkers.
Cash for Clunkers, we'll pass Cash for Clunkers.
Democrats and some Republicans voted for it.
We're thrilled to be a part of jump-starting the economy.
For 2 months last summer, the administration paid people $3,000 if they'd have their older car crushed and buy a new one. They say that stimulated the economy.
That program was good for automakers, it was good for consumers.
Good for the suppliers, it is good for workers.
Gee, I guess I should destroy more stuff.
Cash for Clunkers may be the dumbest policy ever.
The Cato Institute's David Bowes and Edmunds.com CEO Jeremy Anwill are among many who point out the increase in cars sold during the Cash for Clunker month simply stole sales from months before and after.
What's missing is that most of the cars that were sold under the program would have been sold anyway.
Well, it was successful.
Progressives like Christian Dorsey of the Economic Policy Institute point out that Cash for Clunkers did increase car sales.
So that just steals it from future years.
Well, it does to a certain degree. That's what stimulus in some ways is all about.
To get free money to get a new car.
Of course, there were the usual government screw-ups.
Federal government can't process a simple rebate.
Then Cash for Clunkers ran out of money.
The Department of Transportation telling lawmakers that they may need to suspend the program.
Instead, Congress just appropriated more of your money.
We are not discontinuing the program.
And more cars were destroyed. More success. How far can I carry this principle?
The guitar business is struggling. I know what to do. Let's destroy some guitars. The economy's struggling. Sales are down. We need to stimulate the economy. This'll do it. If I destroy some things, then they'll have to make new ones. That'll create jobs. Stimulate, stimulate, stimulate. Why is it good to destroy usable stuff?
Well, yes, cars that were taken off the road were still drivable, but at the same time, they're not leading America forward.
You look at a couple of cars like this that you would never think these are going to be Cash for Clunker cars.
You know, I hate to crush some of them. Some of them are better than what I drive sometimes.
Yet the politicians still say this was a good idea.
Breathing life back into the automobile sector of the American economy.
So if destroying cars is good for the auto business,
wonder how much wealth I could create if I could just cause an earthquake.
This is a Fox News alert. A strong earthquake has rocked Haiti.
It seems crazy to imagine a disaster like this could help an economy, but some people think it can.
I think that this can be an opportunity for a real boom economy in Haiti.
She thinks that because she can see the jobs created for cleanup workers and building new buildings.
Duck in. You okay?
Likewise, after September 11th, Paul Krugman said the attack could do some economic good. Rebuilding will increase business spending. People think that because they can see the rebuilding, just as they can see the extra car sales of Cash for Clunkers.
You can see the people going in to buy cars because the government is subsidizing the purchase of cars. What you can't see is what people would have bought if the government wasn't subsidizing the purchase of cars. Maybe they would have bought computers. Maybe they would have added a room onto their house. Maybe they would have put the money in their savings account to save for college. It's very hard to see what isn't done.
And there were other unintended consequences.
The Cash for Clunkers program may hurt you if you want to buy a used car.
Used car prices went up an average $1,800 because used cars that would have been sold were crushed. Those of you who hoped for a bargain on a used car, too bad. And one more unintended consequence. Charities that rely on used car donations were hurt.
The phone stopped ringing. We've gotten like 2 cars donated in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, it's tough.
So we raised the price of used cars. We reduced the number of cars given to charity. We barely affected the environment, and we spent several $1 billion on it.
It was more successful than we ever imagined.
Why doesn't the government just butt out?
You can't create a program that's going to make everybody happy. There are always going to be trade-offs. And I think the larger goals of Cash for Clunkers were honorable, and some of the trade-offs I can live with.
He can live with that. But can taxpayers?